Hi, Sam. Happy Christmas Eve. And it's so nice to see you. Now, this is almost an anniversary because it's almost a year since you were one of the Lighthouse members on the Think, Eat, Sleep, Repeat program. So it's great to catch up with you. I know we catch up on the Monday Q&As quite often. And the thing we have in common is we're both piano players. You're a piano teacher up there in Wellingborough. I've never taught the piano, I'd be terrible, but I love playing the piano and writing music, as you know. So we've had that in common right from the beginning. So it's lovely to catch up with you. So I just want to ask a few questions to get to know you, to get to know your journey. And I know in the new year, there's going to be some publicity coming out in one of the papers, maybe the Daily Mail, something like that, about your success story. So really excited about hearing about that. I'm looking forward to seeing the amazing transformation photos, which I'll put on this podcast. But my first question is, what initially motivated you to start your weight loss journey? Well, most people have this kind of one moment, don't they? What was it for you that you said, right, that's it, I'm going to start to have weight loss success?
I think I was just feeling so tired, so unwell. My blood pressure was through the roof, my cholesterol was through the roof, and I was waking up several times in the night feeling so unwell and didn't like the way I looked, didn't like the way I felt, and I was just feeling really old and frumpy before my time, really. I think that was it.
That's not, but we all feel that sometimes. And prior to Think, Eat, Sleep, Repeat, what other weight loss programs had you tried? Have you tried other programs? Have you tried clubs or anything
Oh
over the
God.
years?
Yeah. Before lockdown, I'd joined Slimming World and I'd lost 4 stone going there as well. But it was a diet, so it didn't really work for me long term because obviously we had lockdown and I started eating things like a lot of people were overeating, I think, and compensating for being locked in the house. So I'd cut loads of things out that I didn't feel like I should be eating, like bread and everything else. And then it all came back into the house, and that was a
Right.
disaster because I just was addicted to food, really. So, certain foods, carbohydrates, sugar, things like that. And so it was a bit like an alcoholic having a drink. And once I'd started again, I couldn't stop. But prior to that, I'd done Rosemary Connolly, I'd done Lighter Life, I'd done Cambridge Diet. I hadn't done Weight Watchers. That was the one I hadn't done. I'd had anorexia as a teenager, so I'd done a starvation diet and
Wow.
bulimia and everything. A right mess with food, really. A right mess with food.
You literally could write a book on everything you've tried. So when you first got Thinking Secret Repeat, and you were a Lighthouse member, one of the first people to join the program, and it's our anniversary is coming up on the 1st of January. How did you feel when you first started the program? Were you confident, skeptical, unsure, or was it straight away, this is going to be something that works for me?
No, because I felt defeated, really, James, if I'm honest. I think, when you've been on lots of diets, you realise, don't you, that they're only going to be a temporary thing. And this was what had attracted me when I saw the TESR. I thought, oh, well, this sounds like something a little bit new and different. But at the same time, the money side of it, I thought that's a bit of a lot of money to stump up if it doesn't work again.
Yeah, yeah.
But Christmas Eve, I went round to my son and daughter-in-law's and was trying to squeeze into this dress. And I saw the photographs when they came back, and I just thought, oh gosh, I'm just going to give it a go. What have I got to lose? So I thought, well, let's give it a go and see what happens.
And wow, what a year it's been.
Mm.
What Because for those listening who haven't joined the program yet, it's 12 weeks and the content is released week on week, so you're not kind of overloaded with stuff. What aspects of the program going through those 12 weeks stood out to you? Were there any? Because often there is one moment that somebody goes, that's when everything changed. I heard something, or it may be a hypnosis session or something, or some of the kind of the training videos. Was there any kind of standout moments for you?
I think really it was just the affirmation of things that I already knew, but I hadn't really absorbed them. into my mind. I think that was it. I think when you have been a lifelong dieter, you do know you do know what works, you do know what doesn't work. But I looked forward every week to the videos that came through, and not only that, there was a lot of additional content about the importance of water and importance of sleep and all of these things, and that I think I just listened more, and whether that was down to the hypnosis because it makes you more receptive to things. Um, I just found that the information I was being given was going in rather than just being read, and then
Yeah.
a chocolate bar comes along and I think, oh well, I'll worry about it on Monday again. I just it wasn't like that for me.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, common sense isn't always common practice, is it?
No, definitely not.
And we think we know these things, but actually, when we hear something differently, we kind of take it on board, don't we?
Yeah.
So interesting you say that. Um, how easy or challenging? What challenging was it to follow the Think Eat Secret program for you in the beginning?
Not difficult at all. I think like with any new diet, or going to the gym for the first time, I think most people find things fairly easy in the beginning, don't they? And then there comes a point where it suddenly stops being easy. However, with this, it didn't. Just week on week, it was just became second nature. So I knew that I was going to enjoy it at the beginning, and I probably thought after, I don't know, 3 4 weeks, I'll start getting a little bit bored with it, and then things will start creeping back in. But they didn't, and that surprised me. Yeah, and it did.
It's so
And I
lovely to
like,
hear.
yeah, I think
Ha-
that was.
Have you got, out of interest, have you got a favorite session? There's 12 hypnosis sessions, and often there's one that kind of is stand out for people that they repeat and use a lot. Is there one that stood out for you that you enjoyed particularly?
First. It was the
Really?
first one. And I think,
Yeah,
talking to people in the group, everybody seems to go back to that first one. That was the best one for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, really good. But I
I
think the
got,
meeting goes with it, doesn't it? These meetings that we have, and I think that sort of kept me accountable, and yeah, it's just kept it all current
yeah,
because you've got something to look forward to on Monday. So for 12 weeks, mine actually worked out as being a Monday each week that I got my videos. So I'd even before I got out of bed, I'd have gone through everything. I'd have
oh
read it because
wow,
that's really interesting. And then in the evenings, when I went to bed, I'd start actually listening to the hypnosis. But on top of that, you've got the Monday meetings, and they
yeah.
are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think that is you're a winner with that if you
Uh,
go to these meetings.
Yeah, it surprises me how many people who bought the program don't come to the meetings. I don't know if they think they're going to be charged extra. It's part of it. The Monday Q&A is transformative because it isn't about accountability. It's about support. It's about questions. It's about going to the next level. So, if you haven't joined Think Eat Sip Repeat, do come to the Monday Q&As because I think you really enjoy them. And it's like friends meeting, isn't it?
It definitely is now. Obviously at first we'd just all have say our piece, and it was all very sort of polite and, like you are when you
Yeah.
don't know people. But now we have a real sort of good old chat, and we just sort of sit there with a cup of tea sometimes, and we're just like a little family, a community. And that really has kept me going, because otherwise I think you can feel a little bit isolated and on your own, and
Yeah.
then you start seeing it as a diet.
Yes, yes, which it is, and I know you said a little while ago about another diet, but this is almost the anti-diet, isn't it?
It is, and also it's not like going to Slimming World meetings. It's nothing like that. So although I said it makes me feel accountable, not because I'm afraid to say, if I have gained, not that I have really very often at all, but it just makes me mindful of what I'm doing, and then I like to share that with others and hear, some of their tips as well, because we're all human, aren't we? And what works for one might not work for another, and we can sort of bounce ideas around things that are working for us. And I come away from it feeling, ready to go again for the next week. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great to hear. So tell me about the results you've had so far. Again, it's almost a year now. Tell me about your journey, your success.
mhm.
How where are you now?
Nearly 5 stone down.
Wow.
The majority of that, about 3.5, had gone by August. So that was that 8 months into it. And things, like anything when you're losing weight, it does slow down as time goes on. So some weeks half a pound, some weeks a pound, some weeks 2 pounds, some weeks stay the same. But I don't mind it. For me, it's more about how I'm feeling inside and how confident I'm feeling is more important really now than the scales.
And that leads to the next question about your energy, because I know you were drawn to taking action because you said your energy was impacted. How's your energy now by comparison?
Oh, it's better. So it turned out I had sleep apnea.
Okay.
So I went to see the consultant around about April time, I think it was, and I'd done the tests at Christmas, just before Christmas. But you know how long it takes to get a consultation, and it was a real shock actually. He said I'd stopped breathing 270 odd times in the night,
Wow.
which is quite frightening.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to repeat the tests in October, and then I went to see him about 2 weeks ago. And apparently now I have still got mild sleep apnea, but not chronic. But it's only when I'm laying on my back. So if I go to, so he's suggested putting a tennis ball down the back of my pajama bottom. So if I roll onto my back, I'm going to want to roll back over. But I'm not. It's nothing like it was. So
That's amazing.
yeah, that is really good. So
It's so good. So what about confidence?
confidence. Yeah, I like to go in the wardrobe now and pick out something I want to wear rather than something that
Wow.
fits. I've tried not to buy too many new clothes because excuse me, I do want to sort of get to where I want to be before I go and invest in a whole new wardrobe, and I'd like to lose another 2 stone really, ideally. But it's a real joy now. I go and pick out clothes that are. I'm wearing black today, but I have got my Christmas thing on here.
Obviously, you have.
But generally now
Lovely.
I don't wear black all the time anymore. I go for pretty colours. I'm just taking more care of myself and feel confident. Energy wise, I would say I'm not sleepy. I'm as sleepy as I was, but that could be down to the fact that my sleep is better at night. So that could partly be down to that. I've got fibromyalgia and arthritis. It hasn't taken that away, but I feel like there's not as much pressure on my joints as there was. So that's got to be a good thing. So I'm not going to be well because I have got a condition. However, I do feel more energetic and happier.
And any other changes to your health and fitness? I mean, that's incredible what you've done. Improved your sleep, confidence, and just energy. And it's because often it's subtle things we don't notice. It's like the old analogy of the frog in hot water. We know if something's slow enough, we don't notice. But then equally the other way, when our life's improving, it's not till we're further down the road we think, oh, that used to be a problem or an issue. Any other things you've noticed?
Yeah, well, obviously my blood pressure's fine now. My cholesterol's on the lower bounds as well of that. So I did my blood pressure yesterday. It used to be about like 150 over 100, and it's now 120 over 65 for my blood pressure.
Wow.
My cholesterol's in the lower bounds. I was almost due to be going on statins with that, and I'd promised the doctor I'd make a change, and I hadn't, and I was Oh, that was probably another reason why I thought I needed to do something in January. The appointment was looming, and I thought, oh gosh, I haven't done anything since I spoke to them in the summer. But no, the one thing I would say now, I don't get out of puff like I used to. So I still can't walk far. I have a walker, one of those things that you push along with the shopping basket thing at the front. But I don't get out of breath. Before I couldn't walk far and I did get out of breath. Now I still can't walk very far, but I don't get out of breath. So that's a real bonus. I used to find even standing up for a while, I'd start sweating with exertion, and I don't have that anymore. So
that's incredible. That's it. Sam, just phenomenal what you've done. And in a year, which is, not a long period of time really when you think about it. Literally came up to 365 days. That's phenomenal. people often talk about falling off the wagon or having bad days. Can you talk about any of the challenges you faced over the past year, um, and how you've overcome those challenges?
I've not fallen off the wagon, really. I've never had um, a binge or anything like that. The only thing I can say is Mintgate. So in August, I went to Cumbria to stay with my friend, and I get travel sick in the car. So I bought a bag of Marks and Spencer's butter mints. You like the Mentos?
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
to suck in the car, so I didn't feel nauseous.
Mintgate.
Well, when I got back, oh my gosh, I started carried on buying them, and I was sort of popping maybe six a day at first, and before long, it was like nearly half a bag a day, and I couldn't stop, James. It was terrible. I was sort of like, you know, an addict of these
No,
mints.
oh,
So
M&S
I said,
mints.
so I said to Sue about it, and she said, "You've got to knock that on the head, Sam. You know how Sue does. She doesn't mince a word. You've got to knock that on the head." So I did. And I had headaches, withdrawal headaches. I was sitting there, all I could think about was mints. It was terrible.
Wow.
Um, but I did knock it on the head, and I've not had any since. So yeah, it just goes to show how quickly it is easy if you sort of, let something creep back in, how it can grab you again. And like I say, the withdrawals of this sugar, I was getting the most terrible headaches, and my
Yeah,
mouth watering with. So I don't want that again. And I'm glad I did it in a way, because it sort of showed me how rubbish I felt when I did. Yeah.
and also showed you how you overcame what essentially was a new addiction. We tend to think of things like alcohol, drugs, and gambling and social media, but you've overcome M&S mints, which is probably a world first. But it, yeah, you should feel great because you've overcome that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
I
know,
have.
and the when I wrote the sugar session for Think It Sit Repeat, a lot of
Mm,
time effort went into the research, and I learned so much about sugar myself in writing it. And the fact that it is hardwired within us to kind of crave this sugary taste, that's it's in our DNA. And in fact, we haven't kind of evolved that much, that actually some of those things are still there within us. It's like the reason we enjoy rain so much. I don't know about you, but if you've ever had a day, you're at home, it's raining, and you kind of feel this peace and kind of,
mm,
it's lovely if you're in the warm inside. That's within our evolutionary makeup, because if you're in a cave and it's raining, you're much less likely to be attacked by animals.
mm.
So those things, we haven't evolved that, but we kind of think we're super next level creations, but we really haven't evolved that much from our hunter-gatherer ancestors.
No.
Um, what is there any kind of like super top tip you could give anybody who's starting the program? What would you say? You're a year in, you've had phenomenal success. What's the insider knowledge to somebody who's just starting the program that you could give? If there's any top tips, Sam?
Um, I think really don't expect too much too soon. Realize that certainly if you have a fair amount to go, to lose, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not a crash diet, but or a diet. It's not really a diet. It's re-educating yourself. And this year has really made me mindful. I now know what my triggers are. I know that if I go and eat a load of bread, or I've not had chocolate in a year, a whole year, I've not had
Wow.
biscuits, but I really don't want them. And I never thought that that would happen to me, because they are my trigger foods. They're my comfort foods, or they were. And I just don't want them anymore. And I never ever thought that would happen. Um,
What
so
do you mean
that
by Sam? What
uh,
do you mean by trigger food?
trigger foods, the foods that, for example, if I was to have some chocolate now, and
Yeah.
I know I can if I really want it. It's not because I can't have it, but I know now. I know myself now, and I didn't really before. If I have one square of chocolate, it's going to trigger me to have a binge. So
Okay.
I don't want it. I don't have it. I don't need it, and I don't like it anymore. So yeah, I feel really guilty because I've had all this lovely chocolate from pupils this
Of
year.
course, yeah, yeah.
But Mark's really happy. He's sort of he's because he said the other day he said, do they all know that you don't eat chocolate anymore? I said, why is that? He said, well, you've been having hand cream and everything. He says, I feel a little bit disappointed in your gifts this year. So anyway, today there was an abundance of chocolate arrived, and so he's happy and I'm happy. I don't sit there salivating and thinking, oh, I wish I could have some of that. I really don't want it. And that is the thing that you'll get with this. You really won't want it, and that's weird for me, you know.
And that is about your self-identity changing, isn't it?
Yeah,
So, and if anybody's not got the program yet, I take chapters from my book, and in the last chapter, I talk about what I call the self-identity flow. And when your self-identity changes, everything changes, and that's when you find things easy. It's almost like you're in the flow, isn't it? That's kind
yeah.
of when you're in the flow, things become so much easier. So, what does life look like for you, 2025? Sam, what have you got to look forward to?
Ooh, lots better. Spending more time with my grandsons. I've got two. One's two, and one's 3 months old nearly now.
So,
So
lots of energy needed there.
definitely. If I do have Oakley for a few hours, I know it afterwards. So I am exhausted, but I don't think I could have even had him before.
Yeah,
So that's great. Um, I would like to sort of continue to lose a little more weight if I'm honest. But if I don't, I'm content. I'm happy. I just like eating healthy foods. I don't look in the mirror anymore and feel disgusted with myself. I just went to the doctors for a blood test the other day, and I could sit in the chair. You know, the ones that have got the arms. They always seem to have these 1970s horrible wooden old chairs, don't they?
yes, yeah.
And I always used to sit on the one with no arms, and I sat on there and there was room either side. So it's lovely just to feel normal. I think that was the thing. I always had to sort of think, oh, is this gonna, be a problem with a seat belt, or is that chair gonna hold me? Not that I've ever had a chair break on me yet, but there's always a
Well,
first, isn't it?
I sat down. My chair just
Oh
has.
yeah,
Chairs
but
do chairs do break sometimes.
yeah, but I think we all as humans like to feel accepted and that we blend in. And I never felt like I blended in before. I always just felt like I stood out like a sore thumb, and I didn't want to. I wanted to just be part of the crowd. And if I was going to stand out, it was something that was of a merit I'd done, something I'd
Yeah,
done good. But now, no, I just feel confident, happy, and part of the crowd. Yeah,
that
that makes
so
sense.
it absolutely makes sense. It's so lovely to hear. So,
Mm.
so life's better.
Oh gosh, 100% better. Yeah, 100% better. It's the best decision I ever made. And the thing is, I know that what all these things that I have now, all these tools I have, and mindfulness that I have, that will continue. I don't feel like I'm on the cusp of it all going horribly wrong, because I have no cravings for anything that I not shouldn't have, because you can have what you like, but I
Yeah,
don't want. And I think
and
that's
I
the
think it's so important to reiterate that this thinking secret peak is not a diet. In fact,
no.
it's the I said earlier the anti-diet. It's the thing. If you think about it, people like yourself have been on a system, a new way of thinking, eating year after year after year, and what's happened? You've lost a bit of weight and put it back on again. And I know I've spoken before on some of the coaching calls about the research. I think it's out of Oxford University that look at diet clubs and the data. They don't work, and there's lots of reasons. And if you're joining the program, I'll be coming on to one of the Q&As on a Monday to talk through all the data. I'm big into the research behind everything, so that therefore that I love kind of getting that across. Sam, I guess
Mm.
final question for you. Firstly, congratulations. It's phenomenal what you've done. I know you've inspired so many people, and your story is so inspirational. If you never got to use Think, Eat, Sleep, Repeat again, say your phone was stolen, deleted, we're talking as a thought experiment. Has your mind changed enough now, and your beliefs changed enough that actually the way the hypnosis reprograms your subconscious mind, enough reprogramming has taken place that actually you could never go back to Sam version 1, so to speak? You're Sam version 2 now, 2.0, because you're getting better and better even now. You're forced to go back to Sam version 1, who, as you said, you weren't happy, you weren't as confident, you kind of didn't fit in. Could you ever go back to Sam version 1?
No, I don't. I consciously, I wouldn't want to, obviously, for a start. Yeah. But no, I just think in a completely different way now. I think when you go on a diet, you mourn the things that you've given up. Whereas when you do this, you embrace them because you know that they make you happier. And all of those things that I thought were my comfort, my friend almost, they were my enemy. And I just don't want them. It's like getting rid of a friend who isn't a friend, maybe someone who's stabbed you in the back. It wasn't any good for me, and I don't want it anymore. And I know I'll never put the weight back on that I've lost. So
that's almost what you said there is almost a little soundbite, isn't it? The things you thought. I love that. Do you know, I did a podcast with a nutritionist a while back. You may have heard it, Hillary, and she said something, and it was so pivotal, so interesting that I use it with my own son now, and he's almost taken it on board. I encourage him to eat healthily. I know what he eats with me. He eats very healthily. I'm a big fan of fruits and vegetables and kind of eating clean. And the phrase was, is this factory or farm or factory?
Yeah.
And it's when you learn, I wish somebody had taught me that. It's so simple and yet so obvious. We'd be watching a TV show and they're maybe eating cereal, and I'll go, is that farm or factory? Oh, that's factory. And what you said there about what you thought was your friend was actually almost the enemy within or in front of you, I think it's so interesting, fascinating. There's a little quote that's I'm going to be, you can copyright that. I'll be stealing that. But Sam, thank you. Well, first of all, again, congratulations. As I said at the beginning, there's going to be some press release coming about your success story. 5 stone, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Coming out next year, which is going to be, I can't wait to see. Your photographs are incredible. Your story is incredible, what you've achieved. I just want to say massive congratulations and a massive thank you. And also for the support you've given to other members on the Monday Q&A. I know they've really, really appreciated it. And this time next year, let's catch up. And I'll see you before then, obviously, but let's do another podcast next year and, see what your journey's been and what more you've achieved. And
thank you as well, for putting this all together. I just hope more people see the light, shall we say, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I think depression often goes hand in hand, doesn't it, with when sometimes what you are on the outside mirrors what you're feeling on the inside as well. And I think it's a brilliant program, and I endorse it wholeheartedly.
Amazing. Sam, happy Christmas to you. Thank you so much, and happy 2025. It's going to be your year. It's going to be your year.
Oh, I think I've already had my year. It's
going to get even better. So again, thank you so much, and again, thanks for everything you've done. Have a great Christmas.
You're very welcome. And you, my lovely. Thank you. Take care.